One thing I love being out west here are the stories of the people who headed this way. Now, I'm probably like many of you where our family members left their homes, left their roots, and headed to some foreign land, some place they weren't familiar with. And of course, the American West is just filled with thousands of stories of families who did just that. And I've always been fascinated by that. I've always been interested in, the reasons why they moved. Where did they settle? Why did they settle there? What kind of hardships did they experience? And today I'm back on the trail to discover some of that history. In fact, I'm in search of the ruins of an 1800s homestead that was built right here on the frontier. Back in 1884, some folks from Kentucky moved way out west and settled here in this beautiful region, known as Poway Valley. They were in search of a better and healthier climate, as many who suffered from consumption, known as tuberculosis, were. These settlers included the elderly Eliza Caskey, her widowed daughter Alice Winfrey and her 2 children, and another daughter, Annie Smith, with her husband, Reverend Michael O. Smith, and their 2 children. When they initially arrived to the area, it is believed that they lived in a temporary shack while they built a larger 2-story house. This homestead was named Longview because of the amazing and distant views they had from the site. Towards the end of construction, Annie and Michael Smith's young son, Michael Jr., died of meningitis and was buried there on the property atop a small hill where they could visit and care for his grave. By the end of the century, 4 more family members had died and were laid to rest near young Michael. These are the 5 people buried here today. And this here, just a few hundred feet from the street, is the Pioneer Cemetery that I was in search of. And from my research, I believe this is the only private cemetery in Poway, California. And as you can see here, it is fenced off. But there are 5 pioneers buried here, 5 family members buried here. Now, the only grave marker I can see is this more modern stone marker, and as you can see, the grass is pretty overgrown. But the 5 people listed on this headstone are Eliza A. Caskey, Mary Winfrey Campbell, Reverend Michael O. Smith, Michael O. Smith Jr., and Nora Scroggs. And just looking at this area, it really is quite beautiful. We're really not far from civilization, just a few minutes, and there's a neighborhood right down on the other side of the hill. But just looking out at these views, even on a day today that's fairly cloudy, it's just incredible. One thing I noticed as I'm walking along, there are a lot of horse hoof tracks, and I've also heard a lot of horses whinnying in the distance. So I know that this trail is pretty popular for people to ride their horses down, and I can see why. Not only are the views beautiful, but the trail itself, not entirely flat. There are some nice little rises and dips. But yeah, it would be a great trail to ride a horse down. Also, it's a nice trail to hike and walk. And definitely recommend it if you're ever in the area. This is absolutely beautiful. The house Longview burned down around 1908, though I haven't been able to verify the exact cause. Some locals believe a wildfire destroyed the property, while many websites and articles seem to echo the same wild tale that bank robbers held up in this house, and amidst the chaos, the house was burned down. It is an interesting story, but I'm unable to say if there's any truth to it. It looks like we're coming up on the ruins of the house. You can actually see the chimney there sticking up above the brush. So we're gonna press on here and check out the ruins. Okay, this is pretty awesome. The trail will take you right to the ruins of what was once Longview, a two-story farmstead here in the Poway Valley. And what's fascinating, this house was actually built around 1884 or so, maybe the late 1880s. I know the family came from Kentucky in 1884, so depending on how long it took them to build the house. So really we're looking at the ruins of a home that was built, you know, about 130 years ago or so. So it's amazing to see the craftsmanship and to realize that this stonework has been standing that long, completely, you know, unused and not really taken care of, just kind of at the mercy of the weather. And if you look here at the top, you can see where the roof actually kind of bisected the chimney there. You still see remnants of that. Of course, a pretty prominent mantle. The fireplace itself. And I imagine this part here was actually the ground floor, and these steps here and what you're seeing down this way were probably the basement. Okay, I'm walking around the edge here to go down into what I presume would have been the basement. So looking at it from this side, based on where the floor looks like it would have been, you can see really nothing else is left. Wow, yeah, I'm just about 6 foot, and this wall's coming up to, yeah, I would say it's about 5 feet tall or so. Obviously it's a little bit higher there, so I imagine some of this has been knocked down over the years, and the basement was hopefully a little bit taller than 5-6 feet. Now I'm down here within the house still, and it looks like some visitors took it upon themselves to add some interesting artwork to the wall. But yeah, just really neat to be down here within these ruins and to know that that family came here and, you know, laid these stones, likely, you know, stones just from the area, and built this home. Really was a beautiful two-story home by all accounts, and a really nice chimney, as you can see, still standing after all these years. One thing I noticed in here as I was walking around, and you know, I have no idea if this is original to the 19th century, but there are actually a lot of pieces of pottery. I don't know how well you can see that. Very thick pottery too, so I don't know if this was like, you know, a pot, a vase, not entirely sure. But there's quite a bit of this laying about. It's really pretty though. I'm not sure if anybody out there knows a lot about pottery. If you can tell anything from what I'm showing, let me know, but very neat. Yeah, there's quite a bit kind of broken about. Here's even some more there. All of it white pottery. And generally, I'm sure people come up here quite often because it's right off the trail, but generally everything seems to be still in place, barely touched by others, which is really cool because then it allows other people to visit places like this and actually enjoy it and actually gain an appreciation for what this site once was. I really enjoyed coming out on this hike and getting to explore the ruins of Longview, again an 1800s farmstead that's been here for over 130 years. Now, as mentioned, it burned down in 1908, so over 100 years ago, and to just think that these ruins just kind of sat out here. I know the land and the property was sold off, but you know, nobody made the decision to tear it down. They left the walls, they left the chimney, and just kind of left it as a symbol of those frontier families that came out here, you know, from all over the world. In this case, the family coming from Kentucky all the way to California. Like, you know, talk about a culture shock, talk about a change. So a beautiful site. The family did have, again, some tragic deaths in it. Not really sure if this house actually was burned down by bandits. I tend to think that it probably wasn't, although it is a fantastic story. But either way, these ruins out here in the middle of a field are such a beautiful example of what that frontier life might have been like. And I'm glad that people are able to come out here, explore, check it out. And again, I haven't really seen anybody since I've been out here, so it's nice to sort of have the valley to myself in a way. Well, that's all for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed your time coming down the trail with me. Now it's on to the next journey.